Even though we don't have the sunniest climate here in Northern Ireland, skin cancer is our most common form of cancer and accounts for 30% of all cancers diagnosed here. In fact, on average, every day, 10 people in Northern Ireland are told they have skin cancer.
When I was younger, I lived abroad in Saudi Arabia and Dubai, where the sun's very strong, very hot. On numerous occasions, I was burnt very badly. Sun care wasn't a big priority for me then. I enjoyed the idea of having a tan and always looking good, basically. You know, the tan made you look that bit better, and in all aspects you nearly thought it made you look slimmer. So sun factor was never an issue. I wouldn't have used a cream any higher than a factor 10, and sunbeds were a big part of my everyday life. I had gone on honeymoon with my wife, and then coming back from honeymoon we visited my mother, at which point she had noticed it and said you should have that looked at. The sunspot itself had changed in shape and texture, had become scaly at that point. So when I returned, I went to my GP to have it looked at. While on holiday in August 2010, I noticed on my thigh a dark, sort of unshapely mole. October it started getting sort of itchy and I was scratching it, and again thought, must go and do something about that, but it didn't actually go to the doctor till the start of November. I was 33 when my GP confirmed my diagnosis of malignant melanoma, the most serious form of skin cancer. In November 2010, aged 36, I was diagnosed with malignant melanoma.
It's really important to check your skin regularly, ideally on a monthly basis. Pay attention to any changes in size, shape or colour of an existing mole, the development of a new mole, or a patch of normal skin which starts to change. If you notice any of these changes, it's important to get them checked out by your GP.
Following the diagnosis, I had a feeling of numbness, of shock, not realising the severity of malignant melanoma. Then after the surgery was the easy part. It was done there and then. But the waiting was the most difficult part. The 3-month checkups, not knowing if the melanoma had spread, not knowing what the future held for myself, but also for my family. I had accepted the news, but knew myself that the word cancer is a frightening word, and thought, how'd I tell people at home? I then had to go for a second surgery to ensure that all the cancer cells had been caught. The sunspot was about half the size of my small fingernail, and it was just slightly darker than a freckle. And then the initial incision was about 1 inch. And then following the second surgery, it was then taken to about 3 inches. And it was a kind of a large circular area where they had to pull in. It was quite deep surgery. It took me off my feet for quite a while, and I think it amounted to around 70 stitches, which was a bit crazy considering it was the tiniest wee mole. Thankfully, I didn't have to have radio or chemotherapy, just a program of regular checkups. Emotionally, I was very up and down. I would have been depressed quite often. I found it very challenging. But sun safety is a big part of my life now, not only for myself, but also for my 2 children, ensuring that they have sun cream or are covered up. We got on with things, I got back to work. But then once I got back to work, realised, okay, I can't holiday for the first year. And then when I was looking into holidays the second year, I couldn't get travel insurance. You know, it was near treble the price of the holiday itself. I believed I had a dark skin type, so I believed that I didn't need sun factors. I was okay with using a sunbed. I now understand that that is completely wrong. I would advise people now to think twice before using a sunbed. And I know that my daughter will definitely never get the opportunity to use a sunbed. I don't think people realise just how strong the sun is in Northern Ireland itself. It's the small things that you have to take into account.
Top tips for staying safe in the sun, whether at home or abroad, are to stay in the shade when the sun is strongest in the middle of the day, Cover up with a t-shirt and wear sunglasses and a hat. On any exposed skin, use sunscreen with at least sun protection factor 15 and a UVA star rating of 4 or more. Remember these top tips and check your skin regularly for any changes.
Early detection saves lives, it saved mine.